Hello everyone. Today, we as a group 4 would like to talk about the nervous system. As your information, the nervous system is a complex collection of nerve and specialized cells known as neurons that transmit signals between different parts of the body. It coordinates and controls all bodily activity. Now, let's move to the detailed explanation of nervous system from our group members.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Nur Elisa. Today I would like to present about the nervous system. So, what is the function of the nervous system? So, the nervous system is an organ system that coordinates voluntary and involuntary actions and responses by transmitting signals to different parts of our body. So, there are 4 types structure of the nervous system. First is nerve, second is brain, third, spinal cord, and also sensory organs such as eyes, nose, ears, and also our skin. So next is the nerve. A nerve is one or more bundles of neurons that connect the brain and spinal cord with other parts of our body. And a bundle or group of nerve fibers located within the brain or spinal cord, which is called a tract. There are 2 types of tract, which ascending nerve tract, which is carry nerve impulse toward the brain, and descending nerve tracts, which carry nerve impulse away from the brain. Ganglion. Ganglion is made of a cluster of nerve cell bodies outside the central nervous system. And a plexus. Plexus is a network of intersecting spinal nerve. This term also describes a network of intersecting blood or lymphatic vessels. Receptors. Receptors are sites in the sensory organs, such as eyes, ears, skin, nose, and taste bud that receive external stimulations. The receptor will send the stimulus through the sensory neuron to the brain for interpretation. So, a stimulus is anything that activates a nerve and causes an impulse. An impulse is a wave of excitation transmitted through nerve fibers and neurons. So, for our next part is reflex. A reflex is an involuntary or automatic action that your body does in response to something without you even having to think about it. You do not decide to kick your leg, it just kicks. Reflex protect your body from things that can harm your body. For example, if you put your hands on a hot stove, a reflex causes you to immediately remove your hand before you even to think about this is hot. And another example that can we see of reflex is changes in the heart rate, breathing rate, and blood pressure, coughing and sneezing, respond to the painful stimuli, and deep tendon reflex.
Okay, so next I will proceed with the neurons. Neurons are the basic cell of nervous system that allow different parts of the body to communicate with each other. The body has billions of neurons carrying nerve impulse throughout the body. In the brain, this process created pattern of neuron electrical activity known as brainwave. Different type of brainwave are produced during period of intense activity, rest, and sleep. Next is neuron parts. There are 4 parts of neurons: the dendrites, axon, terminal and ends fiber, synapse. The dendrites are the root-like process that receive impulse and conduct them to the cell body. The process is a structure that extends out from the cell body. For the axon, is the process that conduct impulse away from the nerve cell. An axon can be more than 3 feet long. Many but not all axons are protected by a myelin sheath which is a white fatty tissue covering. 4 terminal end fibers are the branching fiber at the end of the axon that lead the nerve impulse from the axon to the synapse. The synapse is the space between two neurons or between a neuron and a receptor organ. A single neuron can have a few of or several hundred synapses. So next is neurotransmitter. Neurotransmitter are chemical substances that make it possible for message to cross from the synapse of a neuron to the target receptor. There are between 200 and 300 known neurotransmitters. So there are few examples of a neurotransmitter, which is acetylcholine, dopamine, endorphin, norepinephrine, and serotonin. So next is glial cell. Glial cell provide support and protection for neurons, and their four main functions are to surround neurons and hold them in place, to supply nutrients and oxygen to neurons, to insulate one neuron from other, and to destroy and remove dead neurons. The myelin sheath. A myelin sheath is the protective covering made up of glial cell. This white sheath forms the white matter of the brain and covers some part of the spinal cord and the axon of most peripheral nerve.
Thank you, Hazri, for your explanation. Next, I will explain about the central of nervous system. But before that, I need to introduce myself first. My name is Nurul Farahim binti Abdul Majid. In central nervous system, it has 7 subtopics to be discussed are the meninges, the dura mater, arachnoid membrane, pia mater, cerebrospinal fluid, cerebrum, and cerebral hemisphere. The central nervous system consists of the brain and spinal cord. The brain is protected by the skull, which is cranial cavity, while the spinal cord travels from the back of the brain down the center of the spine and stops in the lumbar region of the lower back. The brain and spinal cord are both protected within a triple layer membrane called the meninges and cerebrospinal fluid. Next, I will explain about the meninges. The meninges refer to the membranous coverings of the brain and spinal cord. There are 3 layers of meninges, such as the dura mater, arachnoid mater, and pia mater. So that's all for meninges. Next, I will explain about the cerebrospinal fluid. Cerebrospinal fluid is a clear, colorless body fluid found in the brain and spinal cord. Cerebrospinal fluid occupies the subarachnoid space between the arachnoid mater and pia mater and the ventricular system around and inside the brain and spinal cord. The functions of cerebrospinal fluid are cool and cushion these organs from shock or injury, picks up needed supplies from our blood, and gets rid of waste product from our brain cells. It also protects our brain tissue from injury when jolted or hit by providing a fluid buffer that acts as a shock absorber from some forms of mechanical injury. For the parts of the brain, I will explain about the cerebrum. Cerebrum is the largest and uppermost portion of the brain. It contains the major lobes of the brain and responsible for receiving and giving meaning to information from the sense organs, as well as controlling the body. For your information, cerebrum and cerebellum are similar words, but it refers to very different parts of the brain. Additional information that I have found is about 1/3 of the individuals who are left-handed, speech function may be located on the right side of the brain. So, that's all from me. Next, I will pass to Nurul Amanina.
Assalamualaikum and good evening to my daily time. My name is Nurul Amanina binti Muhammad Sa'ad, and I would like to explain about the cerebellum, the thalamus, the hypothalamus, the cerebral brainstem. next point is the thalamus. The thalamus is a small brain structure located just above the brain stem between the cerebral cortex and midbrain with extensive nerve connections to both. So, what is the function? The thalamus' main function is to transmit motor and sensory signals to the brain cortex. Sleep, alertness, and waking are also controlled. Let's move on to next subtopic, which is the hypothalamus. For your information, the small part of the brain is the hypothalamus. It is situated near the pituitary gland at the base of the brain. Even though it is just a small part of the brain, it plays several important informations. Okay, for the cerebellum is located behind the top brainstem, where the spinal cord meets the brain and consists of two hemispheres. For information, the cerebellum collects signals from the sensory organs, the spinal cord, and other brain sections, and then control motor activity. As I mentioned a few times earlier about the brain stem, now I'm going to elaborate about it. The brain stem is the anterior portion of the brain that consists of the midbrain, pons, and medulla oblongata. Each component has its own specific structure and function. They help control breathing, heart rate, blood pressure, and many other essential functions. So that's all from me. Thank you. Now we proceed to our last presenter, Nur Hidayah.
Lastly, with me, Nur Hidayah will continue with the peripheral nervous system. As no information, the peripheral nervous system is the division of the nervous system that containing all the nerves that lie outside of the central nervous system. It also consists of 12 pairs of the cranial nerve and 1 pair of spinal nerve. There are 3 types of the specialized peripheral nervous system that transmit to the central nervous system, which are autonomic nerve fibers that carry instructions to the organ and glands from the autonomic nervous system, sensory nerve fibers that which receive external stimuli, and the last one, somatic nerve fiber, which known as motor, that convey information, control the body, voluntary muscular movement. Its function to allow the brain and spinal cord to receive and send information to other parts of the body, and which allow us to react to the stimuli of our environment. The last one is spinal nerve. Spinal nerve are the major nerve of the body. A total of 31 pairs of the spinal nerve control motor, sensory, and other functions. These nerves are located at the cervical, thoracic, lumbar, sacral, and social level.